Hello everyone and welcome back to Cinema Shakedown, the weekly podcast that functions as a grab bag for all things film. I'm your host Kyle Craigbaum.
And I'm your other host, Jordan Dennis.
I'm the other host, Dylan Miller.
No AKA today? Nothing
I'm a changed man. I've grown out of that.
Okay.
I've adulted.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
See my fucking foot, dude. I'm having a great day right
Did you get the penguin socks on?
The socks, too?
You're rocking them.
Shit.
Yeah.
dude.
For those of you listening on an auditory apparatus, Dylan is wearing a pair of what appear to be
Fleece socks.
Very cozy looking socks. That is a penguin, right?
That is a penguin.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Got them
Epic.
from my ex-girlfriend. Forgot him at my house on the last time
Stupid
we saw
bitch.
each other. And I fucking never spoke to her again.
I can't believe that didn't get a reaction out of you.
Stupid.
That dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Like, that foolish.
Watch how you talk to her, dude. This is the only ex-girlfriend that I think of fondly.
You're right.
Oh, the only one you're on good terms with?
Yeah. She still Instagram stalks me.
Cool.
Which is a good feeling.
Maybe
There
not
you
so ex for much longer.
Well, she's got a boyfriend. She also lives.
When does that ever stop talking? That never stopped
That's
Tiger
true.
Woods, dude.
That's true.
Fucking,
It's never stopped me.
He's the GOAT.
I've FaceTimed all kinds of ex-girlfriends.
That's what I'm saying, dog. Like 3 a.m. Call her up. Tell her you miss her.
Fucking chimped out.
Tell her you feel. Yeah.
Facts, dude.
Yeah, shirtless. Fucking. What's that? What's on the movie The Square? You know what I'm talking about? Where fucking he's got the fucking. He's got the crutches and shit.
Yeah,
like that's you drunk dialing a fucking ex-girlfriend at God knows when.
The movies we're talking about today are going to be literally you movies.
Yeah.
This is a Walter White Joker moment.
Oh, dude. Nah, dude, I tell you what though. Like, how am I? Gnarly fucking weekend, dude.
Yeah.
Chimped out on Friday a little bit. I got chimped fucking 3 a.m. fucking 10 drinks down.
Yeah.
Go to a 24-hour diner around us.
Yeah.
Fucking last time I went to, I was also chimped out and flirted with the waitress.
Was it Gingham's?
Yes.
Fucking
the
love.
only 24-hour diner in St.
Fucking
Charles, Missouri.
love Gingham's, dude. That place goes hard as fuck.
I was chimped out last time I went there as well, and I got the number of a waitress I was flirting with, and then never spoke to her again. You'll remember when our film crew asked me to go to Gingham's with
You
them.
rejected
I
that.
couldn't because I was scared of
Yes.
her going. But I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So I went again at like 3 a.m.
Oh, was she there?
Ate by myself. No.
Okay.
But I was just drunk enough to where I was like, back to fucking dialing people at 3 a.m. Dude, I dialed her. I dialed the babe.
Oh,
shit. So
What you call the waitress on? Wait,
it was
like the waitress? Is
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Oh my god!
She wasn't working, but like I was at her fucking home.
Everything reminds me of her.
And
How'd that go?
so she was perfectly receptive. To
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I asked I'm at your fucking hometown, dude. Let me pee up. She was like, all right. So I go over to the babe's house.
Is this how old is this woman?
She's 26 actually.
Oh, okay, work.
She doesn't look 26 to be honest with you, but I digress.
Alright.
Dude, I was so blackout drunk last time.
Yeah.
I forgot this bitch has like, it looks like 2 sets of teeth.
Ooh,
in her
oh,
mouth, dude.
yeah. You were talking about her,
Elaborate.
like a
Top
shark.
row.
Yeah.
It looks like, it may just be like, you know how your molar in the back is
Yeah.
kind of like shaped weird?
Yeah.
It's got, like, it looks like that, but for all of her teeth. I forgot about that.
Oh.
But I'm fucking
You're in
chimped.
it.
I'm chimped
Like-
right now, dude.
I've never heard this expression before. Chimped? Does that just mean
Shit-faced.
shit-faced? Okay, I've
Shit-faced.
never heard that.
Like he's so drunk that
I'm
like,
just
every
primal.
evolutionary cell in his body has.
he's without the primate.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, I'm
okay.
primal.
Okay.
In my primal brain, I'm already there. She lives towards like St. Louis County, which is like 30 minutes away. I'm gonna tell you what, dude. That whole time that I was getting, so I got there.
Yeah.
That whole experience of getting head, dude. I was just like blackout drunk.
Yeah, the Mission Impossible theme fucking playing and shit.
Yeah,
like,
just
like don't do it. Yeah, I bet that wasn't great.
It was weird. It sobered me up, dude.
Yeah.
That drive home was sad. And then on top of that,
Yeah.
these are all jokes, by the way. This didn't actually happen.
Yeah, in Minecraft.
I was driving home and I fucking sideswiped a mailbox, dude.
And you had a crazy session in the GTA roleplay.
Yeah, dude.
That
Server.
weekend, and then it was just a weekend reflection after that of
Yeah.
being like,
Well, yeah,
what am
you
I
gotta
doing?
like think on that.
What am I
bit.
doing
Well,
with
better a
myself?
mailbox than
Yeah.
a pedestrian, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I don't have a fucking passenger mirror.
Well, just don't merge right ever.
All jokes, dude.
Yeah, it never happened.
All jokes. Don't drink and drive, kids.
For legal purposes.
Or just be better at it. Like, be better at it than I am.
Don't get caught.
Yeah.
I think is the key.
Don't, you know what? Don't text and drive and drink and drive.
There you go. No one's ever died from drunk driving. They only die from distracted drunk driving, okay?
You can't multitask while drunk.
Don't go blaming the beer.
No, dude. I was open carry too. I was open carry while driving.
Oh yeah, dude, you were just letting the fucking toolies sing.
No, I brought a roadie with me, dude.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, word. I thought you were just letting the fucking.
No, dude, I wasn't letting the gat spray. Wasn't the
unloading clips out of the fucking.
Letting the tool talk.
Like that, like hitting the mailbox wasn't even the worst crime you commit. You know that is a federal offense though.
What?
Destroying a mailbox? Yeah, that is a federal crime.
Yes, it is.
All jokes, guys. Just didn't actually.
Yeah, for legal reasons.
It's all for the bit.
It was a Minecraft mailbox.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what?
What was the address of the mailbox?
Yeah.
You guys drove past it. Just
oh shit.
I'll tell you what got me through the weekend, dude. I follow this guy on Instagram. I think it's literally just. Don't worry, we'll get to it, guy. We have two movies.
No.
I think that was more of a reaction of like
I didn't know where it was going.
No, dude, listen.
This was surprise.
I'll tell you what got me through the fucking weekend. There's this account I follow on Instagram called Put a Girl On, where this guy literally just calls the same. Like first it was a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
He just calls the same Taco Bell every single day, and they're like, "Listen, Taco Bell, how can I help you?" He just goes, "Put a girl on." Put a girl on. That's it.
That account only exists that can only exist on like Instagram.
So even when a girl answers,
that's the thing is all they have to do is actually put a girl on, and then it's over.
he just hangs.
But literally all because the same workers working shifts get kind of fed up, and so on I think it was day 40 of the same Taco Bell, he's like he pulls up. And he's like, "Hey, I'm out in the parking lot, and I'd like if you could put a girl on." And they're like, "Hey, yo, he's in the parking lot." They send an employee out. Bro, he runs out with a fistful of beef and just throws it at his fucking window. He's asking, he's like, "Get out of the car! Get out of the car!"
You gotta show us this after.
I gladly, dude. It's the
That's
funniest fucking thing ever. And now
just
he's
a fistful of
Taco Bell beef, dude. The same shit.
You know how
they put in
mad?
Taco, dude.
You know how furious you gotta be,
Bro.
at someone to not. I'm assuming no glove. Just
No,
reached right in
dog.
there.
Raw dog beef, dude.
You know how much you gotta hate a motherfucker
Bro.
to do something like that.
Literally, because it just got, it's nuts. And now he's on a chicken shop now. And he's on day 4 and they're starting to get a little fed up. This
So
shit
it'll
keeps me
progress.
alive.
He'll throw a spicy
it'll
chicken
get worse,
sandwich
dude.
at his windshield.
It's
or
the
something.
greatest. Because he like advertises it on his story. He's like, about to call the fucking shop. Getting ready.
Tune in, live stream tonight, guys.
That's
Great.
fucking
It's
insane.
awesome. Dude.
Instagram is not a real place.
It saved me this weekend.
Oh, God.
After that devastating,
Shout out to Instagram.
that devastating side quest, dude. Anyways.
Well, speaking of side
Welcome
quests,
to
we're
the
on to the
fucking
main.
show.
We're on to
Yeah.
the main quest now.
You can drop the title card now.
You watch anything this week?
All season Game of Thrones. I don't watch movies outside of the podcast anymore. I don't know where you guys even find the time. Like every week
On my
without
bikes at
fail,
work.
we come back here and and re-fucking group, and you're like, yeah, I've watched 4 movies in the past couple of days, and I'm like, God, fuck it. Like, are you guys? Are you working on like a 36-hour calendar? What is?
So I'll tell you.
Is it is it the fucking guy who has the? Well, you know what I mean, like the schedule where he's like the Sigma male.
His first day is from fucking 12 a.m. to 3.
It's like, I'll wake up, drink a protein shake, go back to sleep. That's one day.
That's day
Now you've
one.
compartmentalized your time.
Dude.
I actually follow Mark Wahlberg's.
Oh, it's
That's
showing,
the
dude.
schedule to be run. That's
No.
the Sigma grind set.
Has anyone ever told you look like Mark Wahlberg?
No.
Good. You don't.
Nice, dude. Got his ass.
I fun fact about Mark Wahlberg I have for the Crow discussion.
Okay,
So
alright.
this is, but I'll tell you this: I watch movies incorrectly, and
Okay.
that's why. Because I watch them in pieces.
Okay.
I'll watch them.
Oh,
In,
that's true.
The filmmaker's intent means nothing to you.
Yep. I'll watch them I'll watch 30 minutes of a movie on my break at work.
Just imagine
On
you
your
like,
phone?
Back to work. No, I bring a tablet to work specifically for that.
That's gangster.
It's a little better.
Dude.
It's a little better.
That's That's, I mean, don't get me wrong, psychotic behavior.
Yeah,
but, like,
absolutely.
That's sick.
Just imagine you
That's
sitting back there
sick.
watching fucking Sallow on your Apple Watch.
No, on my Apple Watch.
Smoking a fucking cig, waiting to clock back in. Like,
Oh, dude, have you ever seen a Serbian film?
It's like the fucking Omnitrix, but it's all like problematic banned
Snuff
movies.
films,
Like
dude.
fucking
So
Cannibal Holocaust. Fucking.
Jesus.
before I get into
Do we have to bleep Holocaust? Are we gonna get in trouble for that on YouTube?
No, we're already not monetized. Don't
Okay.
yeah,
we're very
yeah,
boring.
nobody
We
wants.
We can't. Hey, can't get demonetized if you're not monetized to begin with.
Precisely,
Boom.
dude.
Before I get into
Just says a slur.
Before
Sorry,
I get
no,
into,
go ahead.
Before I get into movies, I finished a TV show I've been watching called The Leftovers on HBO. Season 3 of The Leftovers is in my top 3 seasons of TV ever. And it's like, this show is fucking unreal, dude.
Kyle, I want to let you know this is the second week in a row you have not let me talk about Game of Thrones and just gone right into what you were watching.
Game of Thrones, dude.
I didn't even finish what I was talking about.
I'm sorry, we got off on the tangent. I forgot. I have ADD.
I said, I won't let this stand another.
Go for it. Talk about it.
Oh no,
Just so self-centered, dude.
no, it's
Talk
great.
about it.
It's some of the best television ever made. I think.
Yes.
It's we just finished season 3. We're in the middle of the peak. Red Wedding. Is that okay to spoil at this
It's
point?
the only thing that I know about the show, and I've never seen it.
Yeah, they murked our boy. They murked his mom, his pregnant wife, right in front of him.
Oh,
It
legit.
was crazy shit.
Yeah. It's season 3 is fucking
We have one
incredible.
more season of Peak left.
Yeah,
and then
4
and then it
is-
falls off a fucking cliff. I can't wait. It's interesting watching a show with this kind of like foreboding doom hanging over it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I've seen the whole thing. I know exactly where it's going.
It's kind of like watching The Crow.
Segue if we didn't have a whole
Yeah,
other
if we
mess
didn't
of
have-
movies to talk about.
But yeah,
Maybe edit that and clip that in like 15 minutes later.
It's very strange. That's the same experience I had when I was watching Dexter for the first time.
And
a
it's
long
the
time
exact
ago.
same thing, isn't it? 4 good seasons and 4
Yep.
bad seasons.
Yep, same thing.
There's
Interesting.
8 seasons of that show. Dexter.
Yeah,
And there's like
and a reboot.
2 revivals.
And yeah,
Or well, the
There's
one,
gonna be a second
the one they
revival.
did and the one that's coming out.
The Leftovers does not fall off. The Leftovers is good for all 3 seasons.
Only 3 seasons. Maybe the lesson to be learned is that TV shows should be shorter. Maybe the lesson to be learned is that movies are just better because they're shorter.
I mean, don't forget about the really long-running great TV shows, though. I mean, It's Always Sunny is on, like, fucking...
That's true.
I did make an argument to him the other day that that's the most consistent sitcom, if not TV show of all time.
I would agree with you. I think people would kill us for that, but I...
Sitcom-wise, no sitcom has went like 15 seasons that are all good.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you're right.
And like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like every episode is perfect, but like
There's
it never.
like Seinfeld purists and Curb purists.
Yeah, but
and
those
stuff.
never those didn't run as long. I don't think.
No,
Curb was close. Curb was like
Curb, yeah.
11.
Curb
I hear
was-
good things about Curb.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Curb
And like
is
I'd
awesome.
say like Community, but it had a bad season.
Yeah.
It had, yeah.
You know what? You're a Larry David fan?
I love Larry.
That makes so much sense
Yeah.
to me. That like so much just connected in my head. You do kind of give like curmudgeon-y old Jewish man a little bit. Like I hate everything and don't talk to me. Like you know what I mean?
It's
Like
the epitome of that. That is the show.
that is that
great.
So what you're saying, we should make a sitcom about Dylan?
Dylan will make a sitcom about Dylan. Don't
No.
get it twisted.
I think that was.
I agree.
When you said that, my eyes bulged out into big dollar signs like Daffy
This
Duck.
isn't fucking Windy City Heat, dude. I will take my own fate into my.
Have you? What would you kill yourself if you got Windy City Heated?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Kyle, have you seen Windy City Heat?
No, I'd have
It's
no
one of the
idea what you're
funniest-
talking
funniest
about.
fucking
One of the
thing.
funniest, most high concept comedies you'll ever
It's the
watch.
craziest
Is it a spoiler to know what the concept is?
No, not really. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah. So basically, these the 2 comedians found this guy at an open mic in Chicago in like 2001 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, he wears a fucking leather trench coat. He's got a fucking like black top hat on, and
Bro isn't on the spectrum. He is the spectrum.
he is for real. He's the craziest motherfucker you've ever seen.
Sure.
Think Sam Kinison, but like the worst kind, right? So
Sam Kinnison's Wario.
yeah. So basically what they do is they convince this guy by putting him through auditions and everything that he is going to be in the next like big movie of the year. And they set cameras up
Like, the whole thing is constructed to gaslight this one insane, morally reprehensible person.
Into thinking he's the next Tom Cruise.
It's when I watched
Bobcat Goldthwait, isn't it, that directed it?
It's kind of like the exact opposite. It's like the opposite side of the coin of Borat, where instead of only one person being in on the joke,
it's
everyone is in on the joke except the one person.
And it's a documentary?
Yes.
Okay.
One of my favorite times.
You describing it kind of reminds me of the 2001 version of what Exit Through the Gift Shop that came out like a decade later, which is a documentary directed by Banksy, where they find a guy who has been documenting street artists during that time, and they decide to turn him into a street artist, but he's a total fucking phony.
Yeah.
And they convince it, like, he's convinced he's a genius.
That's fucking...
Dude, it's one of the best documentaries ever made.
It's like that,
yeah.
But the funniest thing
it is funny, but it's not in that same way.
The bit that sticks with me is when they have to get him to guard the catering table, because don't they have they convince him they have like a Chinese nationalist coming in or something to fund the production.
I gotta watch this.
He's the executive producer, and it's like, oh, fucking producer's coming, and they have this big lavish fucking craft table full of candy,
cornucopias, a full hog with an apple in its mouth.
And they're like, okay, why can't I remember his name? It's something along the lines of Dusty or something.
Something ridiculous.
They're basically hey, while we're in between takes, you got to protect this table. And also, I want to mention that the two comedians that discovered him, one of them plays his agent, and then one of them is just a complete fuck off.
Yeah.
If you put Shaggy from Scooby-Doo in just the real world.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But they're just fucking with him the whole time. And so the guy who's Shaggy is he in particular is the one that Dusty is no, you fucking stay. It is so fucking funny.
I'm gonna watch it. This description.
There is one bit, just because he mentioned it, there is one bit for me that sticks out where they keep bringing him food. So when he's in his trailer taking a shit, they're like, "Hey, Dusty, we got a plate for you." He's like, "I don't want fucking food.
I'm taking a fat shit."
He's lactose intolerant as well, so it's just a lot of milk and eggs and shit. It's so fucking.
That's
it's
great.
incredible. Anyway,
Sounds
you
amazing.
watched a bunch of really great movies.
I watched movies. Let's speed round this. I'll end with that one because that's a discussion.
Yes.
I watched The Bike Riders, which Jordan had watched and talked about a couple months ago on the podcast. Jeff Nichols. Yes. It's really solid. It's quietly effective, I'd say. Where by the end, I was I'm feeling it. It doesn't ever fully escape the that biopic formula in a way where it's just based on a true story. So it's got that formula, how it progresses. By far the best thing about it is the cast, man.
Sure.
Tom Hardy kills it. Jodie Comer is so good in it.
She's great.
Austin Butler is maybe the most gorgeous that a person has ever been on camera.
He's up there, man.
And then Michael Shannon's great. Norman Reedus is great.
Everybody that you're listing seems when a movie is called The Bike Riders, I'm here's the people I would pick.
Dude, Norman Reedus from Walking Dead is the most biker.
They got him all made up. He's got wooden teeth and a big old beard. He wears this.
He looks homeless.
Basically. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was really solid. And then this morning, I watched the new John Woo film, which is his own remake of his own movie.
Yeah.
The Killer.
It's like a Mikhail Haneke with funny games.
It's kind of.
Shot for shot remake.
Oh no, it's not. It's a reimagining. More so than the remake.
Interesting.
And it's strange because it's a John Wick movie made for a streaming platform, Peacock, and it feels like John Woo making a movie for the streaming era. So it's kind of torn between the very generic construction of a streaming era action movie and having bursts of John Wick going dummy, because some of the action scenes are pretty damn cool.
John Woo going
John Woo going off. I mean, the last scene in the movie, the climax is great, and also borderline parody of a John Woo movie. There's a church shootout and there's doves flying and all the staples of John Woo cinema.
Yeah.
It's very watchable. It's decent. I liked it more than
for you, though.
it's just that generic construction. Like, the villain is ass, and it has no. It's Sam Worthington.
Oh yeah.
Which he's not even bad in the movie. It's just like, what is he supposed to do with this fucking character?
I do like when Sam Worthington pops up and stuff.
I do too. It's just like, man, I wish he had been given anything else. But
y'all fuck with Clash of the Titans 2010?
I've never seen Clash of the Titans 2010.
Shit goes crazy.
I saw a parody of it, I think, unless that's the one. Yeah.
Are you thinking of Meet the Spartans?
No. Maybe. What's Wrath of the Titans? Is that like?
Oh, that's the second one.
I definitely saw like a parody of it. I mean, I'm talking. I was in like 3rd or 4th grade.
Okay. Well, the Wrath of the Titans, the second one, is kind of like sillier.
Okay.
So that might have been it.
Maybe that's it.
It's a little more. It's a little goofier with it. Yeah, campier.
And then let's talk about the one.
My movie of the decade.
Your movie of the decade. It's a film from either last year or this year, depending on what you consider, called La Chimera, starring Josh O'Connor from Challengers, and directed by
Alice Rohrwacher, something like that.
Close enough. Who made a critically acclaimed movie I heard about for the last couple of years called Happy as Lazaro that people really like, and I'm going to have to check it out.
Definitely.
And the basic premise of this movie, which doesn't really have a narrative, it does. To an extent, but it's about a group of French grave robbers. Yeah.
Italian.
Sorry, French.
Yeah.
Italian grave robbers who dig up ancient tombs and hope that some of the treasure is still remaining and is valuable.
And Josh O'Connor is freshly out of prison. Who?
Yeah.
You later find out that gang of grave robbers ratted him out.
Yeah. And
they try to reel him back in.
And more so, Jordan used to use this term all the time on our podcast, which is more vibe than film. This could fall under his description of this because it very much is a movie that is.
For the record, when I say that, it speaks more to when a movie is more concerned with the experience and less with the narrative.
No,
the story. You know
I'm thinking
what I mean?
of this movie and I'm going, spot on.
Yeah. It's more ambient. Yeah. Ambient. It's gorgeously shot on film.
My God.
Different kinds of film too.
Multiple formats.
Josh O'Connor is incredible in it.
The perfect stoic, moody, lead.
Good. Do you know if he knew Italian before this movie or the anything about that?
I would imagine he didn't, but I'm not quipped up on that trivia.
I mean, you can barely tell, which is good. And the character is kind of supposed to be
Italian American
and more novice about the Italian because he's corrected a few times.
He got sort of fitted into that culture as opposed to...
And it's a movie that just so deeply absorbed me into it, despite the fact that it's decently long. It's like 220. But I didn't care because like the whole time I was locked in.
Fucking second of that movie is...
not for everybody. I wouldn't recommend it if you need a narrative, if you need resolution,
I will say it's mostly in the way that it carries itself and in the way that it stays in the scenes that you would think there isn't really a narrative to it. But there's plot beats that make you go you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not devoid of that.
It's not meandering in any sense.
Yeah.
It is very
I think a lot of people would consider it meandering. Even though I personally would not.
Of course. The term I would meet you on is spacey. That's what I would say.
Sure.
It's very...
Very, very floaty.
Yes.
Very I gave it a 5. So I know you're happy with that.
I was so fucking stoked. I was just hammered in my room by myself, just
He was fanboying all over
freaking
text.
out.
I thought it was great.
It's my movie of the decade, buddy.
You got 3 to speed through real quick so we can get to our actual discussion.
Jordan, you mentioned that we cram in so many movies in a week. I really don't. Yeah. This podcast does take up a lot of my time, and I've made it a thing for myself to where it's no, I miss watching movies for myself that I'm kind of interested in. Not to discredit this podcast. There's a director who it was kind of in the indie scene was known for kind of his weird antics, along with the David Lynch and a big Vincent Gallo fan. He was sort of compared to this director. His name's John Cassavetes. Yeah. His probably most famous film is called A Woman Under the Influence, and I watched that. It's great. It's fantastic. Gina Rollins, rest in peace, recently passed away. Gives an all-timer performance. It's like, it's just one of those like female performances where you're just like, oh, this is your. It quite literally is her movie, but like, oh my god. There's a language to his movies that I can't fully grasp.
Dense
just yet.
Or just foreign?
Yeah, foreign. I'm very foreign to, and he's American.
Foreign to the sensibility.
Yeah, there's a language he carries throughout his movies, and the way that he directs his actors in particular, that I'm just like, why are you people acting like this? It's still great. I won't rewatch it for a while, but it's fantastic, and I guarantee.
He's a blind spot for me. I need to watch more Cassavetes.
I also plan on.
Heard
watching
that
more.
I know they did a mini series for A Woman Under the Influence last year.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of attracted to that.
Yeah, I think people enjoyed it from what I remember. Yeah.
And then after that, there was another one who I don't know anything about this director, but it's called La Piscine, or translated in English, The Swimming Pool, starring Elaine Delon, also rest in peace, recently. Austin Butler being the most beautiful ever put to film. No, Elaine Delon.
I don't even know who that is.
%.
Looking up a picture.
You've seen stills of him before. Incredible, actually, like 5-star, just incredible movie. I don't want to say anything really about it. Go watch La Piscine.
I've seen stills because he was in
La Samurai.
La Samurai.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Also fantastic. And then when I was on my dangerous escapade with Shark Tooth on Friday, I turned on Punch Drunk Love. And that's a 5. Paul Thomas Anderson, I love you, my king.
It's in my top 3 Andersons. Yeah.
Yet you have it at 4.5.
Yeah.
Rewatch income.
I haven't rewatched it though. Yeah.
Anyways, welcome to the fucking show, ladies and gentlemen. The 2 movies we're talking about today.
Yeah.
The Crow.
Needs no introduction, I suppose.
Yeah. What year was The Crow? Was it 93?
I want to say.
93. 94. Okay. 94. I want you to describe the plot of this movie.
So Brandon Lee's character, Eric Draven,
yes,
wakes up from his tomb on a sudden quest for the revenge, as he is haunted by the memories of the men who gang raped his girlfriend and murdered the 2 of them. There's a subplot of a young woman that him and his lady took care of because of her mom being involved in dangerous gang activities and is a prostitute, is a drug addict. And, I'm not great at the...
Yeah, no, you're right. Spoilers for the original Crow right now. The kind of mythology of this world is sometimes a love is so like grandiose and pure that if the members of it are killed, one of them, a raven will bring back one of them for vengeance, for
carry their soul
carry their soul back from the dead. And this is a unique movie for sure, based on a graphic novel, which I thought that it wasn't until I saw the credits.
I knew I was informed correctly.
And it was a very personal graphic novel from what I've read, because it was something that he had wrote after the death of his girlfriend,
who was killed by a drunk driver.
Yes.
More on that. I forget why he wasn't able to have a ride, but it was license issue, something that was like in his control, but like he didn't have access to, and so he asked his girlfriend to come pick him up, and she got killed by a drunk driver. So it was like he carried the guilt of that.
And this was the directorial debut of Alex Proyas, who previously was a music video director.
Checks out.
Very much
totally
checks out. That basically gives you everything you need to know, because this is very comic booky. This is very music video-y.
Definitely.
It has that 90s gothic aesthetic.
Grungy.
Dirty, emo. All of those things. It has all of like those bands at the time, like 9 Inch Nails and fucking like and
System of a Down.
It's a very particular, arresting style for sure. Did not care for this movie.
I understand why.
Didn't care for it.
It's a little goofy.
It for sure is, and sometimes I love Goofy.
Yeah.
I think that, and the goofiness is not my issue with this movie.
Okay.
It's the pacing.
And that is also...
And the way that it tells the story.
That is also my issue.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm wearing a Crystal Castles t-shirt. I wore fedoras in middle school. Thought,
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Take that shit to the grave,
Fall
brother.
Out Boy, all that, dude. Yeah. Shoulder length hair. It was a thing.
So this was made for child you.
Yeah, man. Like there's a certain aesthetic that, while I've grown out of and can certainly point and laugh at and cringe at, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a style that I can understand.
Yeah.
The sensibility for.
Yeah.
You're old enough. You've discovered nostalgia now.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Well,
honestly, yeah.
And
dude.
you can see the influences from other sources. You said it feels kind of like the Schumacher Batman movies,
Yeah.
which
I get. The world building is very similar.
Like
Yeah.
like that Gotham is such like a neon nightmare
Yeah.
complimentary, and I think. I don't know. This kind of takes a page out of that.
Weirdly,
movie.
the best Detroit has ever looked, in my opinion.
and
honestly.
and then you have the sensibilities of, I mean, I just mentioned him earlier in this episode, John Woo, with some of the later like bullet fu action, gun fu action sequences.
That ending is just straight fucking absolutely, yeah. Or
Yeah.
I should the ending final
Like
sequence.
in the church, like
Yeah,
all that shit.
There's
Yeah.
the people he's sort of after are working for this they're called Rogue something, I forget. Like Rogue Company maybe. And they're sort of these vampiric sort of, each one of them has this distinct sort of like evil personality to them. The filmmaker in Nope,
Michael Wincott.
Michael Wincott is
Great
the
in this
leader of
movie.
them. He is
Awesome in this.
eating every fucking
Might be
scene
the
he's in.
MVP of the whole
He's
thing.
easily the MVP
so
of the
good.
whole movie. I'll go.
I liked
on.
Ernie Hudson in this too.
Yeah,
It was fun
yeah,
as hell.
And you know what? Like, I'll go on to talk more about what I like about this movie. This movie is famous for what killed Brandon Lee.
Yeah, I guess we should address kind of that
Yeah.
rest
Rest
of the
in
room
peace.
here real quick. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Brandon Lee was, during filming, he was, I think, 90% done with the scenes. He only had 3 days of shooting left, and a prop gun misfired and killed him.
Which I was kind of throughout the movie kind of trying to look for. Like,
And
what
it
was the-
hangs over it because there are a lot of scenes of him getting shot in this movie. A lot of scenes.
Yeah.
So you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Which one? Or did they rewrite? Or is that scene even in it? Did they rewrite it?
Yeah.
Did they re-edit it?
I would imagine
structure it?
they reshot it or
Yeah.
re-edited
Yeah.
it.
But it's rough.
It's a goddamn tragedy.
It's goddamn tragedy because he had potential, and you
Like,
see the potential in him.
Like I think he gives like a solid, decent performance. I mean, Eric Draven isn't the most like. You don't really need like an actor's act, not a performance you need a Daniel Day-Lewis for or anything like that. But he has like a spark to him, like a joy. Like he's clearly having a fucking ball doing this.
And you can
know what I mean?
you can almost feel him getting more comfortable as it goes.
Yeah,
like-
well, the character also kind of loosens up a little bit, and
Yeah.
he's surpringly silly.
Yeah,
in this movie
that's
kind of has more of like a
100%.
trickster
Yeah.
vibe to him.
He has a quirk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like his performance very much, which for as much as I like this movie will kind of sound surprising because he's literally the movie.
Yeah.
There's certain quirks and line deliveries that I think are just kind of lame.
I think the line delivery, sure, but he is so committed to the physical performance.
Yes.
100%.
That it sells it. I
And
don't know,
when
he's-
this movie is getting physical,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I don't have an issue with any of the crazy loopy action sequences or any of the set pieces. It's the way they go about bridging it. I think that there are way too many lulls in the narrative here that just like suck me completely out of the film, and it takes me a minute to get back into it once I find it get exciting. It's just like it's this push and pull where I'm never fully on board because I just know that there's going to be a lull where the cop is talking to the kid. Or there's going to be some police corrupt like that,
or even the stuff
yeah.
cutting to the road company that like are just like and what I'll agree with you on is like it kills the momentum because it'll go from one of these like really kind of talky, sort of boring scenes that aren't particularly shot in any interesting way or really like performed in any interesting way, but then it cuts into another scene where it is supposed to be like sort of action packed and like sort of jammed.
Yeah.
And the momentum going into those scenes is killed a little bit from the previous scene. So I understand that the pacing is something that I'm not
certainly there's
particularly
evocative visuals in this movie. There's a specific shot of him lighting a gasoline trail that forms a crow on the ground.
So
that's so fucking cool.
Great.
I was so in.
And the memory sequences that are essentially like haunting him and reminding him.
I like the editing, the abrasive.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of so this weird mix of like the aesthetic of Batman Beyond and sort of the flair of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. There's Buffy in this movie.
If that
there
makes
is a lot
sense,
of Buffy in it. And I'm a huge Buffy fan, especially
We
like
love
the
Buffy.
nightclub sequences with like a singer and like definitely feels like
yeah, this movie has like such a personality and style.
It does have a personality. I would never argue not.
And I'm kind of like really kind of in love with it.
And that's okay.
I have thought a lot about this movie.
Yeah.
Like this movie has not left my mind since we watched it.
How you feeling, Jordan?
Yeah, you're quiet over there, dude.
It's fine. There will never be a day where I wouldn't just rather watch RoboCop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You say that about a lot of movies.
Like that is true of most movies. To be fair,
that's a good general statement.
I don't know. Like, there's moxie and personality here. I've always kind of scoffed at the whole like black fingernail fucking like emo. So that part of it doesn't really speak to me. I guess I didn't really have as much issues with the pacing because I think the highs were never quite as high for me as they were for you guys. So when it did like a lull, it was just all kind of like, I'm just along for the ride here. Yeah. But I think where this movie does kind of shine through in how like soulful it is, and just this movie kind of wears its heart on its sleeve a lot more than you would think. I feel like in a way that a movie we will talk about in a minute kind of completely misunderstands the appeal of what makes this movie. Like, sure, you have your edgy melodrama of him like shredding on the guitar, brooding on a fucking
rooftop, dude. It's
like
raining.
Sundown and shit. Like of course you have that, and it's kind of silly and campy and like edgy or whatever. But at the end of the day, at the core of this movie, there is a compelling romance story, I think, and a compelling revenge story at the center of this, and I think that is kind of what keeps the whole thing from completely falling off the rails.
Totally.
Kind of ends on an anticlimax. I'll say that.
How
there's
does
there's like a cool sword fight for a minute, and then Michael Wincott just kind of falls off the roof.
Michael Wincott should have been a vampire. I thought that's totally what they were building up towards. And
they do something similar in the new one.
Yeah, fuck. And he totally looks like a vampire.
He certainly
with that fuck ass wig, like.
And he's just doing. I'm so into a vampire who's just doing.
Yeah, just doing. He's like Tony Montana with like Dracula, dude.
He's got his fucking beautiful.
He's got that epic voice.
His beautiful
like
Asian side piece.
We had the back-to-back Mark Wahlberg episodes. We got the back-to-back goated Michael Wincott performance in a kind of mid-movie episodes.
Yeah. By the way, speaking to that, like him just shredding a guitar on that rooftop, that was for me when I was just like, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
Well, you've done that. Like, that's what you're gonna do.
When I get
blackout,
when I get fucking chimped out, shit faced, I just find my nearest.
After you sideswipe that mailbox you got up on your roof and you just started playing fucking heart-shaped box, weeping.
Yes, dude.
Anything else to say about it? Anything else?
No, I think my ultimate takeaway is that when I was watching it with the bros, we were all kind of like, nah, that was fucking. But no, it stuck with me, and I'm kind of like especially after the other day, our theater viewing experience. I was kind of like, just reminded of how much of a heart this movie has, and even though I didn't think he is a great actor. It's such a goddamn tragedy that this movie will be known as the movie that killed Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
In the same way that Rust.
Yeah.
With Alec Baldwin is, even though
if that ever fucking comes
No,
out.
it never will.
No, it never will.
And it probably wasn't going to be good in the first place.
So,
I 4 stars. It was a 3.5 when we watched it,
Bumping
but I bumped it to a 4-star.
bumping it up. 2.5. Didn't really work for me. I obviously found things to appreciate, but it was not for me.
Yeah.
3 stars.
Cool.
If you've ever been to a Nirvana concert, you'll probably fuck with this.
Which probably haven't. Also, rest in peace.
Oh, yeah. Rest in peace. R.I.P.
The cool 3.
Same year.
What?
Same year?
Oh my god, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh. And Tupac as well, right? Or was
96.
he 96? Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't there someone else 94?
Let me.
Your eyes roll back.
Yeah, like the fat black dude from Dune. Fucking.
I was gonna say like Alien Company.
No,
or Alien Romulus.
I was thinking about fucking what's his name, Thurfier Howat, and he Rolodexes back into his brain. He's like, oh, hold up, let me check the receipts. Like,
okay.
or I should have said like Bran from Game of Thrones. Fuck.
That you're watching right now.
Fuck
that one up, dude.
The Crow.
I'm gonna kill myself.
2024. Spoilers for The Crow. I'm not doing a spoiler-free section for the fucking Crow. Nobody give a fuck. It's the same plot as the original.
No, it isn't.
I mean,
kind of. It's the same character. It's the same characters as the original, certainly.
If you were to list the synopsis on IMDb, it'd be the same. Man,
let's get into specifics as to why it's not.
It is.
Please.
Structurally, it's not. So it's the same basic concept of man brought back to life by a crow to get
an hour in. So this movie opens with FKA Twigs.
Yeah, the first...
These two fucking... Okay, so Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs are drug addicts, right? They're troubled, moody people who the world doesn't have room for, and they're in their own fucking somber solace.
The first hour of this movie is just toxic before sunrise. Like, it's just them falling in love.
It's a lie.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Say what you will about the original, but at least there was something interesting about the way we learned more about Eric and Shelley's romance through flashbacks as the story in the present progressed, so we didn't have to waste so much time just doing that part, like dividing the movie into 2 halves. Just do it all at once.
So the first half is like a YA romance.
Yeah. And Attack of the Clones vibes.
Please let me establish, because this is a fucking problem with this movie.
Yeah.
So because it is told in this such conventional narrative, and you're fucking forced at gunpoint to fucking sit with these characters and their romance that has no chemistry.
No.
These people don't work together as actors, as lovers.
I thought you were a little hard on M. Night Shyamalan's daughter in Trap. Everything you said about that performance, I can apply to.
She makes
FKA Twigs here.
M. Night's daughter look like fucking Daniel Day-Lewis.
Like in terms of like pop stars turned actors, like
Jesus Christ. They meet in rehab. They meet in rehab because
but it's like Supermax rehab.
Yeah, it's like prison.
It's in the middle of the Rockies. Like they got armed guards.
Rehabs are known for being shitty, but it's not fucking prison. They're not in prison.
I'm fine with it not being a realistic rehab because it's a fucking movie.
The original Crow is not set in realistic Detroit.
Right.
But like, oh my god, it's so fucking corny from the very beginning.
Oh, it's
the establishment of Bill Skarsgård in the rehab. He's like surrounded by all these they look like prisoners. They don't look like
you're a loser, Bill Skarsgård.
I leaned over to Jordan. I said, "Isn't this how they killed him in It Chapter 2?"
Yeah, bullying him.
It's like it's such an. I mean, you said you've never been into the emo aesthetic. Yeah. This movie is that cranked up to 18.
So this is like...
Yeah.
This almost reads to me like somebody who grew up... Like the people who made this movie grew up hearing about The Crow.
Yeah.
But never actually watched it.
Yeah.
And just kind of remade it assuming what it was about.
Yeah.
And
there's no awareness
the gist
of the material.
All of the heart and soul in the original is completely let alone the fact that the romantic leads have absolutely zero chemistry here. There's just dare I say it, I don't listen, it's been a while since I've seen a movie that's just fucking lifeless from the jump.
Yeah.
Absolutely no excitement, entertainment to be had at any moment. It's just these long, drawn-out scenes of corny romantic dialogue and weird, like, convoluted. The reason Shelley gets killed in this is so, like, needlessly convoluted.
Yeah, they have to set up, like, a reason
for the sake of just doing something different.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, it ties into the villain of this movie, who, like, Michael Wincott was so good in the original.
How are you gonna top that?
But also, like, his character, which wasn't really given a reason or motivation, or even really, like, a life to begin with. Whereas in this movie, they try to do all three of those, and it's the most fucking monotone villain.
I was gonna say, somehow it ends up worse. It's like making the character more complex.
I know he's a good actor, too.
Danny Houston innocent, alright? He did this for a paycheck. Like, I know he just rolled up and said those lines. Like,
it's like, but, like, the villain wants, so he's made a deal with the devil, I guess, to...
He doesn't really have, like, an ultimate goal.
No.
He's just harvesting souls for the devil until...
He just wants to... his thing is to send the innocent to hell.
And that's all he does. That's just what he does.
That's just his thing. I guess because it's for...
Implied
success,
to be... fame, money, wealth.
He's clearly in some sort of,
They set up this
position.
weird subplot where he's, like, taking on this piano protege.
Yeah.
That, like, never really goes
they
anywhere.
don't do anything with that, do they?
No, that just completely, like, goes nowhere.
So okay.
Yeah, that movie just went down half a star, didn't it?
Well, no, because here's the thing, like, is when they're doing that, is the whole time I'm kind of like...
It seems so important.
Well, it's supposed to be sort of this, like... It's supposed to add stakes as to, we have to stop this guy so he doesn't do what he did to FKA Twigs, which in what they did to FKA Twigs in this movie is basically, you know, she is a singer and she has a reason for not wanting to do music, and you find out that, you know, what kicks off this whole plot is she has this video on her phone.
Yeah.
Of...
It incriminates Danny Houston and his weird devil magic.
Yes.
The villain can whisper in their ears and make them, like, do, like,
kind of Purple Man-y a little bit. Like,
yes.
They can,
very much so.
In the video, he whispers into FKA Twigs' ear while she's playing piano.
She murks someone.
And she...
Which I guess the protege is, like, foreshadowing, because that's, like, a reveal later.
It's supposed to be the stakes added to, like, no, we have to stop him so he doesn't do this to this girl.
Yeah.
The problem is that entire character is dropped by...
Completely forgotten about.
By what you would think is the point in the movie where sort of her, like, talent and her gift is supposed to be used, which is in the opera, which I guess...
I was going to say, is she even performing?
No.
During the opera scene?
No, she's a piano player.
Yeah.
It's an opera singing.
Well, you can... I mean, you know.
Well, there could be a...
It could have just been a piano concert.
They didn't emphasize it.
No, they didn't. No, they did not.
There's not a single shot of her in that.
No, there's not.
Which we should get to later.
Well, we're gonna get to that.
Let's fill this out.
Let me say my thoughts on this movie real quick.
Yeah.
Right. It's crow shit. It sucks. The dialogue is, like, reprehensibly bad. I was entertained by this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was so fucking stupid that I was having a good time.
Yeah.
I just kind of embraced the
ride
bullshit.
Yeah.
And I do think that there are a few sequences in the back half that I thought were kind of fun. And kind of in a shallow way, absolutely. Very shallow way. I had fun, and I don't think it's a poorly shot movie. I think that there are some evocative images in there. They're fleeting. They're not anything special, but I don't think it's a poorly shot movie.
I'm going to. Jordan, you mentioned long, drawn-out sequences. This movie's editing is so shit, and look, like, I'm not expecting the long takes. You know, when they used to shoot a conversation from one angle for 3 minutes, you know, I'm not looking for long takes like they used to do back in the day. And it is a very common thing nowadays where they do just quickly cut. Yeah. The way this fucking movie moves is infuriating. It doesn't sit in a scene for more than fucking a minute and a half.
I was thinking specifically about the scene of them talking on the break. Maybe not even long drawn out literally. Maybe they just felt longer because we're beat over the head with like 10 minutes of, oh, I love you, babe. Like, I'll never hurt you. It's like, oh, you gotta, like, oh, you when I'm hard to love you gotta love me harder. Like,
oh man.
Of course, babe. Like, it's fucking
that's a real line, by the way.
No, again, you said it, Attack of the Clones vibes for that romantic dialogue.
And dog, I'm
Real.
sorry, I can't defend like the look of this movie. Not so when he goes to the Crow Purgatory, it's all digital and gray and hazy.
Yeah.
And
I don't love that.
It looks like a fucking like Silent Hill map, but bad. And then everything else is shot like a fucking Chrysler commercial.
Yeah.
Like it's competently shot,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
but in the way that a Chrysler commercial is. There was one moment in this movie that I think sums up entirely how much this misses the fucking mark. I think it's the opening shot in the original is that big like sweeping shot over this like post-apocalyptic hellscape Detroit, all these bright colors and sounds like flashing at you, and then it pulls into this neon red lit window as Ernie Hudson's like looking over a crime scene and shit. Like it sets a fucking mood.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's a shot in this of a CGI crow kind of like digitally clipped flying over a generic city.
Yeah. Chicago.
Brown gray city.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
it's just nighttime. Like that's
this feels like it was made for a tax write-off. Like this this remake's been in development hell for like
since 2008.
I think Jason Momoa was originally dude.
This is where I wanted to bring my fun fact. Mark Wahlberg was attached to this movie as the Crow at one point. That would have been worse.
So it could have been worse. I suppose it could have been a little worse. Which honestly will bring me to my point. Bill,
Fire Your Agent.
I love you.
Sorry, dude.
I love you. You've been great in great things. Mm-hmm. John Wick 4 was my favorite movie of last year.
Yeah.
Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if a Razzie comes his way by the end of the year.
I don't even think... Oh, he is bad in this movie. And, like, I mean, how are you supposed to deliver this dialogue in a way that...
I get it. But I also think he is just, like, woefully miscast in this 100%. Role to begin with. Because he's such a fucking dweeb.
Yeah.
Like, he does not sell this, like, at least Brandon Lee, like, with the long hair and, like, I don't know, like...
And he's jacked.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like... Fuck it, he's giving coworker in this Bill Skarsgård. He's giving fucking the one coworker that can't touch the aux at any cost.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
So fucking smart.
Let's get... First of all, this movie is way more violent than I expected. It's like hyper violent.
Another thing that I think it completely misconstrues from the original, which is not particularly all... It's violent, but it's not like gory.
It's for the merit of revenge.
Yeah,
whereas this movie is violent for the sake of like
jingling keys in front of you.
And guess what? Guess what? It kind of worked on me because I was so like again, I enjoyed parts of this movie in like the most shallow way.
To what end though? How are you gonna be able to live with yourself?
Listen, that action
how are you gonna sleep at night?
Scene, which I want to get to that action scene, the one that people, if anything, if there is going to be a scene that people talk about in this movie, it's going to be the opera scene.
I dug it.
I liked
it 100%. Like back to sort of like the original had this sort of like merit of this guy will stop at nothing to avenge his dead girlfriend.
It felt like a riff on Kill Bill. Yeah,
and. You know,
don't you fucking dare!
I said a
speak
riff,
that in the same breath.
I didn't say that.
But there is an interesting conversation to have as to like why Tarantino's hyperviolence works, whereas this movie doesn't.
Because it's a movie filled with characters that we care about and a plot that we're invested in and act.
But the hyperviolence is a talking point in itself.
But the hyperviolence is also just a staple of Tarantino.
Tarantino does it well.
It's a directorial trademark.
Does it well.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Does it with an intention that like
correct.
If there was a hyperviolence in the original Crow, it would have worked.
Yeah.
Like it would have worked perfectly fine. This movie lacks such a fucking... you know what? Maybe it does go back to like the lack of care for the characters and the general hate I had for this movie.
Yeah.
I liked the opera scene. It is kind of like speaking to like what the fuck are we doing?
And the problem with the hyperviolence in this movie is it's not done with any like thematic intent to like really drive home the intensity. It's there to keep the audience's attention so you don't get too bored. So every like 5 minutes when somebody gets their face shotgunned off, you give like a slight reaction of ooh. Like it makes you like a movie that like has not moved you 1 inch.
It's to keep
gets
it
like
from being sterile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, and the reason that the opera scene works for me is that I feel like it is the one scene in the movie where the editing is has a point, and there's the contrast between the opera
the
scene and
juxtaposition
there's
is
the juxtaposition.
So uninspired.
I thought
like,
that there was some inspiration to that
no,
sequence.
dude.
There's
Like,
stunt work. There's
first
some gore effects.
an action scene set to opera music. That's the best you got. Like Mission Impossible just did it better. Like 10 years ago.
Those are very different action
And I
sequences.
think, and again, like it's so tonally, like, because all the violence up until that point is like kind of like mean, and like this is the one time in the movie where it's like, oh, now we're gonna be kind of silly and campy with it, and it's so like tonally dissonant from the rest of the movie.
I thought
think
that it was still really mean, the violence in that scene.
because the way it's like presented is in much more of like because the whole scene of like setting it to opera music is supposed to be like this silly juxtaposition of, oh, listen to this like fancy like
I wouldn't say
beautiful
silly,
music.
but beautiful is the word for it. Elegant. It's supposed to be this like. There's an elegance to the dance routine.
What's the irony of it? That's the whole point of like setting it to opera music.
Sure,
I would say
there is like the thematic. Yes, for
it's
sure.
it's the elegance versus the ugliness that's going on, and
I just thought it was stupid.
Well, that's
I get
fine.
it.
I'm not gonna argue that it was stupid. I thought it was a good action sequence.
There's like
I've seen better.
I'm conflicted on it, and I shouldn't be, because this movie is so fucking thoughtless and brain dead that why am I?
You're putting more thought into this movie right now than the filmmakers did at any
Exactly.
point during production.
But there is, if anything, one action in the movie where, and it's in the trailer, like where he shoots a gun, where he gets impaled.
Yeah.
And I guess through the tiny hole in his stomach, he uses a gun to shoot a guy behind him.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And it's cool. But
he
it's
puts
in the trailer.
he puts a sword like through somebody's cheek.
And does severs his jaw.
I don't know, guys. I guess I'm just not as easily impressed as you are, man.
Yeah. You're a little more...
But I like my films a little more high concept.
Yeah, you're
than
high
that,
class,
you know?
dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's all just
Like John Wick Chapter 4.
It's all just like it's all just juvenile attempts to like
This movie is juvenile.
appeal to
It's
like
incredibly
edgy,
Hot
like,
topic.
but in the most like
Corporate,
sanitized, like not self-aware, like no fun. And again, I think that's another big key difference. Is this is just not fun in the way that the original is. Like, even if you don't like the original, it is a perfectly like entertaining and watchable film that like this just slogs along until honestly too little too late. It throws a couple action scenes your way that like sure are impressive, but at the end of the day, it's like, what greater whole are they serving here? You know what I mean? Like,
I had fun.
Makes a great tech demo.
I had fun for a lot of bad reasons, but
makes a great stunt demo. I don't know, man.
I could see being able to point and laugh at this movie and have a good time.
I just don't think this movie has enough of the ironic like charm or like even like incompetence to make it.
It
like,
was just that
so
romantic
bad
dialogue
good.
being so rough that first hour was entertaining for me, just to hear what crazy stupid fucking garbage they have to say, because it's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's awful.
It's awful.
The writing is easily one of the worst scripts of the year. Might be the worst script. Yeah.
I'd say the worst.
Yeah.
It's not my worst of the year. It is the worst script of the year. Like, in a violent nature, everybody needs.
This is a worse script than In a Violent Nature, dude.
Yeah. No, it is. No, come on.
I'll leave it to subjective.
Oh
opinion.
my lord, man.
Oh my god, do you remember the teens in that movie?
They suck. But
they're
like,
in it for like 10 minutes collectively. This is is the whole movie. The whole movie is like this.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man. I respect your opinion.
you don't have to apologize.
I'm baffled that you even received like a modicum of enjoyment from this. Like, it genuinely, like, I need to crack your cranium open and study it for science to see how your brain works, because I could not imagine a more like dull and torturous experience at the theater. Half a star. This shit sucked ass.
I really can see an ability to point and laugh at this movie and maybe have a good time while doing that.
Like, I'll never throw this on at the function. God,
Never.
no, absolutely
Never.
not.
I for real. Oh, that's another thing is like, when we're watching like something like Borderlands, or because we're in the minority within a violent nature.
Yeah,
everyone else
true.
loves
this
that.
Is true.
I genuinely don't think. Not only the people we saw the movie around, which empty fucking theater by the way.
Yeah, there were a couple
there
people.
was 2 couples, and neither of them looked even sort of impressed. I don't see people.
Neither of them has seen a shower.
What's your rating?
I'm not rating this movie. This movie is brain dead.
Unreviewable.
I'm not going to give it the thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, respectable.
No. You and for different reasons, but it was the same with The Happening for you. Like you can't. Yeah, I refuse to.
2 out of 5.
Great.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill you after this.
That's okay.
I'm gonna beat you to fucking death and serve you to your family in a stew, bro.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
No, I mean I really fucking hated this movie.
It's bad.
For personal
Artistically bankrupt.
Yeah.
A black hole of creativity.
It boggles me that there was conscious people every single day.
This movie seems AI generated.
Yeah,
Like if you had told me every bit of the production of this movie was handled by computers, dude, yeah. I'd believe you.
Yeah,
I would fucking
like
believe
conscious
you.
people having to show up every single day on set and be like, no, let's keep this.
Like nobody said anything.
Can I say how confusing the ending of this movie is? Because like he resets it so his girlfriend's alive and he takes her place in the
so that she's not in hell anymore.
But does that make time go back to before? Does it like reset?
Because they cut to the events of them.
Like,
so the moment in time that they died, which was a murder,
right?
But it changes to them having overdosed, and
but
them only being able. I say them, being the paramedics being able to save only her life and not his,
right? But he has the fucking tattoo he gave himself. So what the fuck is going? What?
It's strange. It is a strange from a logic
Have you considered
perspective.
it doesn't make sense because the movie is fucking stupid.
I would say the movie's fucking stupid. Because it doesn't.
I'm sure the writers couldn't tell you what it meant.
But that's what I mean. Like it seems AI to where like a computer just generated something and was like,
generate compelling ending.
Yeah, there's interesting. This is what happens when you type in art house ending to ChatGPT.
And it was actually she reset. And that's just another thing. Just like the villain, they had a bunch of like bullshit lore to how the crow works.
Yeah.
And everything. When in the first movie, he just busts out of that fucking coffin and gets to fucking work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, and last thing for me, because really I've put
you've dedicated way too much energy to this.
Too much.
Yeah.
The ending climax where, spoiler, he kills the guy.
Yeah. Well, no, he pushes him into a puddle and then the demons kill him.
Gets dragged to hell.
You know what?
The guy dies.
I guess I will say that for both of these, both have really anticlimactic villain deaths.
Seriously, it did nothing for me. And by the way, I don't think I said this. I do agree with you on the original Crow. That ending, for like different reasons. Sorry, the original Crow. There's a certain lack of like impact in like the sound design, and that's across the board all throughout the movie.
For sure.
There's just certain like lack of emphasis.
Yeah.
4 stars. Love that movie.
Yeah.
The ending for this movie is just fucking whack. Just
movie's
lame.
whack.
Yeah.
Again, my 2 out of 5 is from literally having. I had the expectations of this being the worst movie I saw all year. For him, it was. For me, I've seen worse this year. I've seen movies that have definitely pissed me off more.
Borderlands is unforgivable for me. And this movie is too, but there's a certain like.
Hey, at least you're rated Borderlands.
Yeah, because I think that's worth giving a thought of how awful that movie is. Whereas this one is just kind of like.
So this is this your second worst or third worst of the year?
I'd say second worst.
Well, but guys, let's leave a little
space
for the imagination.
Right.
We've got end of year list to do.
You're right. That's their Crow discretion.
Crow discretion.
I'd say don't go see it. You're not going to.
Yeah, no. This made
$4 and
$4.5 million on like a $50 million budget this weekend.
Yeah, it bombed.
Deserves the bomb. And by the way, let me just say, Bill Skarsgård, you are one of my favorite character actors of today. But like,
fire your agent.
You're for real.
You're better than this.
Blink twice if you need help. Like, God, listen. I'm not saying it's going to.
Yeah.
But if it does. If Nosferatu sucks, I'm not saying it's going to. I have no reason to believe it will.
Yeah.
Robert Eggers does nothing but cook.
Hypothetically, though.
But hypothetically, I always believe there is a non-zero chance that a movie will either be good or bad. Any movie can be good, any movie can be bad, any movie can surprise me either way.
Listen,
If Nosferatu sucks, Skarsgård's on thin ice. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, no, oh, there's absolutely I remember being like shocked at some movies that like haven't sucked. You're sitting there like,
Yeah, you're like, wow.
I remember seeing the trailer for Smile, and we thought it would be one of the
We thought
worst.
that was gonna be fucking terrible. I mean, you like that movie more than I do, but it was definitely a surprise for sure.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's a fun movie.
It's a good time.
So that's the episode. Next week. Next week we're getting deep into the AI.
Deep. Yeah. Speaking of AI generated.
Speaking of AI generated.
Actually, we're gonna AI generate our whole next episode.
We are going to be talking about the new Blumhouse horror movie, Afraid.
Which will also bomb. Like, there's no reason for us.
No,
to
it's
talk
not.
about
It's not going to bomb because all these Blumhouse horror movies are made for $1 million. So
Kyle, I know
they
you
have
got
no
the
choice but to make money.
It's not gonna have any impact on.
No, not at all.
Kyle, I know you got the answer rattling around there somewhere in your head. When the fuck do we talk about a good movie?
Well, 3 of the other movies we're talking about next week are good movies. So we all decided to pick a movie revolving around artificial intelligence. So, your pick was
Artificial Intelligence by Steven Spielberg.
yours,
The Terminator.
and mine, 2001: A Space Odyssey. So there's your 3 good movies
There
to
you go, fuck.
counterbalance.
Gonna
it.
Guys, what are you gonna do?
insane.
Guys, what are you gonna do when I call 2001: A Space Odyssey overrated and mid?
Kill you.
Not respect your opinion anymore,
Word.
and laugh at your ability to sit down and watch a fucking movie.
That's all right. That's fair.
Yeah.
Word.
Be prepared,
Yeah.
but also
Be
I'm preparing
prepared.
myself.
Yeah. So,
But you know what? Try to not judge you as a person. I'll say that. I'll try my best.
okay. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the
Try to
restraint.
still respect you as a man.
No, for sure. No, I think something will definitely be lost there if I come out of this like 2.5.
Yeah. I would love if you got introspective and were like, I need to change something about myself.
Yeah, I'd like something's not working, guys. Stephen Midbrick.
I'm more interested to see artificial
I'm
intelligence.
so excited for
I've
that.
never seen Artificial
Yeah,
Intelligence.
and that
Actually,
is-
it's one of the few Spielbergs I have to cross off my list.
And for
Yeah, I'm
just for
excited.
Cinema Shakedown sort of lore on me, it's like I don't care for Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's
Wild take.
very hit or miss for me.
Wild take.
Respect him.
And
not-
AI is your favorite?
AI is like it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Tarantino. It's just like far and away the thing.
I am curious to hear, like, besides, like, his, like, universally bad movies, like, what you consider his misses. We don't have to talk about it now, but
We'll have a
I
discussion.
Schindler's List.
yeah.
Well, that's another time.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
even
There
unpacking
you
that
go.
right now. If you like the podcast, you can follow it on Cinema Shakedown at. Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Oh,
Yikes! I should just kill myself now. You can follow it on Twitter at Cinema Shakedown or Instagram at Cinema Shakedown Pod, and you can follow me personally on Twitter and Letterboxd at Kyle Craigbaum. That's KRIEGHBAUM.
Hey, you redeemed yourself there.
No, you brought it back.
Thank
Clutched up. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at J_Dennis99 or on Letterboxd at my name, Jordan Dennis.
Clussed up, huh?
What's up?
You said clussed up?
Clutched up.
Ooh, no, you didn't.
No, I didn't stop. I'm not retarded, Dylan. I'm not.
You can follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd at The Slope God.
Goodbye.
Love you.
Goodbye.